Ferrari just publicly slammed Lewis Hamilton, and it all started when the FIA had to push back on them. But here's the kicker. The fallout from Hamilton's China disqualification triggered a chain reaction that's now threatening Ferrari's entire season. Stick around, because what I'm about to share is the real deal. Steamy, surprising, and utterly credible. Ferrari have admitted they were forced to raise their car's ride height after Lewis Hamilton's disqualification in China, and they revealed they lost our way a bit afterwards. Those are Fred Vasseur's own words. No sensationalism, just blunt truth. That DSQ in Shanghai wasn't an isolated error. It exposed how fragile Ferrari's SF25 floor design truly is. And from there, it's been one upgrade after another, with little progress and mounting frustration. The China DSQ that sparked it all. In a weekend of high drama, Hamilton was disqualified from the Chinese Grand Prix after the rear skid block on his Ferrari was measured at just 8.6 mm on the left and center and 8.5 mm on the right, falling below the 9 mm minimum mandated by FIA Technical Regulation Article 3.5.9, a clear-cut breach that left no room for appeal. The stewards deemed the invasion a genuine error by the team, and Ferrari's representatives could not mount any easing defense. Hamilton's result was disallowed in full. Charles Leclerc suffered his own blow, being disqualified for running 1 km under the legal minimum weight, a consequence, Ferrari later said, of a one-stop strategy that burned excessive tire mass and pushed the car below the limit. The fallout was swift and unforgiving. Ferrari lost the points from both Hamilton's and Leclerc's original finishes, and the podium celebrations turned into a nightmare as Haas's Esteban Ocon and rookie Oliver Behrman were promoted into the points-paying top 10. Sprinter Hamilton's triumph in Saturday's sprint race offered a fleeting glimpse of hope, but that momentum evaporated into embarrassment by Sunday's end. Ferrari later issued a statement professing that the issue stemmed from a misjudgment of wear and a small margin error, not an attempt at exploitation, and vowed to learn from it to prevent a recurrence. Strategically, the disqualifications were more than just a lost weekend. They exposed cracks in Ferrari's design philosophy, forcing the team to raise the ride height and yet again compromise aerodynamic performance across subsequent races. Ferrari's confession: we lost our way a bit. Fred Vasseur didn't mince words when he admitted that following the double DSQ in China, Ferrari had lost our way a bit at the start of the season, highlighting that execution and quality issues had taken the team off course. The urgency behind that admission wasn't just expression. Vasseur confirmed the team had been compelled to raise the ride height of the SF25 to prevent further plank wear violations, and that such conservative tweaks compromised the car's delicate aero balance. He spoke candidly about how this safety margin disrupted performance consistency. Every millimeter lost in ground clearance translated into tenths of seconds on the grid, making recovery an uphill task. To compound matters, Vasseur acknowledged that early season handling was harassed by inconsistent behavior at different tracks, which threw off race engineers and left both drivers operating in a guessing game. We had a lot of problems with the handling at the racetrack, he confessed, referencing back-to-back weekends where missteps overshadowed strategic efforts. In some races, it wasn't a lack of pace, but poor focus on key setup elements that cost them. Vasseur specifically cited Budapest qualifying, where the wrong priorities led to a significant drop-off. He illustrated just how fine the margins were. If Charles had been just 0.2 slower, he would have been 6th instead of 1st, underlining how a tiny lapse in concentration can upend a weekend. Despite the turbulent start, Vasseur offered a glimmer of hope, pointing out that in more recent race weekends, the team had managed to trim the deficit, closing back in by around 0.2 of a second. Upgrades that didn't deliver. Ferrari entered the 2025 season with high hopes that their technical upgrades would finally close the gap to Red Bull. But those expectations quickly crumbled as the upgrades repeatedly failed to deliver the desired performance. At the Spanish Grand Prix, what was supposed to be their most significant package of the year backfired badly. Rather than improving lap times, it upset the car's balance, leaving both Hamilton and Leclerc fighting understeer and loss of grip through key corners. Ferrari were forced into damage control mode, hurriedly reverting to an older spec rear wing and floor configuration just to restore some consistency. Team boss Fred Vasseur openly admitted that the team had lost their way a bit with development, a rare public acknowledgement that their innovation strategy had gone off track. While rivals like McLaren and Mercedes seemed to extract clear gains from their upgrades, Ferrari's experiments often left them chasing setups on Friday and Saturday instead of focusing on race pace. This not only hurt their results on the track, but also dented the confidence of the drivers, who struggled to trust whether the next new part would genuinely improve the car. The gap to Red Bull, instead of shrinking, stubbornly remained, and Ferrari's hopes of mounting a mid-season fight for the championship began to look increasingly unrealistic. The situation highlighted a deeper problem. Ferrari weren't just battling Red Bull, they were battling their own missteps in design and development, an issue that continues to haunt them as the season progresses. The internal tensions grow. Hamilton's frustration has boiled over into something far more personal, reaching a breaking point during Hungarian GP qualifying when he declared himself absolutely useless and even suggested that Ferrari might need to replace him, a brutal and public expression of self-doubt. This wasn't just a one-off outburst, it echoed the struggles he had already endured from Belgium to Hungary, creating a consistent pattern that is visibly eroding both his morale and the atmosphere within the team. On team radio, his voice cracked with vulnerability as he muttered, "Every time," signaling just how deeply he felt responsible for Ferrari's recurring letdowns. These moments have fueled whispers across the paddock, with former F1 Supremo Bernie Ecclestone even questioning whether Hamilton should continue racing, hinting that retirement may be looming. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc's resurgence, his podiums and pole in Hungary, has only intensified the contrast, piling more pressure on Hamilton to deliver results at a time when his confidence is already at its lowest. Inside Ferrari, unease lingers too, with reports suggesting that up to 90% of staff were skeptical about signing Hamilton in the first place, though these claims remain unconfirmed. What's clear, however, is that Hamilton himself has admitted the transition from Mercedes to Ferrari has been far more difficult than expected, a sentiment that aligns with team boss Fred Vasseur's remarks that perhaps they underestimated the challenge. All of this is unfolding under the relentless glare of media scrutiny, turning what was supposed to be a dream partnership into a fragile and volatile union, one that could determine not just Ferrari's season, but Hamilton's legacy. What it all means. In the bigger picture, Ferrari's public swipe at Hamilton and the FIA's measured response show just how tense the politics of Formula One have become. Ferrari's frustrations with their upgrades and internal dynamics aren't just about on-track performance. They reflect deeper struggles with consistency, trust, and strategic direction. For Lewis Hamilton, it means stepping into a team that is still trying to redefine itself, while for Ferrari, it's a reminder that reputational strength alone can't guarantee results in the modern era of F1. The pushback from the FIA and Ferrari's own admissions only make it clearer. The fight for supremacy isn't just against Red Bull, but against their own limitations. And in this battle, the next few races could determine whether Ferrari stays a serious contender or slips back into old habits. Ferrari just slammed Hamilton, not with words, but with their own fatal design flaws and strategic missteps, laid bare by the FIA's pushback. The China DSQ wasn't just a minor setback, it was a seismic shock that revealed the SF25's Achilles heel. And as the season wears on, that weakness has only deepened. There's no sugarcoating it. They raised the ride height, they lost their way, and each upgrade has felt like a band-aid on a broken leg. The question now, can Ferrari and Hamilton screw themselves back together before it's too late? What do you think? Comment below. This isn't speculation. This is Ferrari publicly admitting they're unraveling under pressure, and the FIA just lit the match. Stay tuned because the fallout has only begun. Like this video if you feel the more spice is coming, share it with friends, and subscribe for more catfights.